Time to play around. Tanganda is our tea. Make sure my lenses are clean. Drink Tanganda tea. Where my peoples is at? Where my peoples is at? We drink Tanganda tea. This episode is brought to you by Tanganda tea, the people's tea. Hey, Tanganda, give me some money. Rooibos is not tea, ladies and gentlemen. The only tea in this world is Tanganda. Tanganda tea. Let's talk, people. How many people are watching? How many people are watching? Let's get some milk in there. You know, some of that low-fat life. One day we should break down what milk actually is, ladies and gentlemen. It's tea time. Where my peoples is at? It's tea time to put some sugar. Some sugar. Put one sugar in that one. Okay, what up, people? We got a big subject to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. A big subject. Big subject. Just getting my tea ready. What up, everybody? What up, Tatenda? Justice, what up? Clem, what's happening? Selassie, Jonathan, my homeboy. What's up? Franco, Farin, Dave, P. Sydney. What do you say? Sharon Rose, how you doing? Sandra Gara, what's up? What's up, people? It's good to see you guys. Let's talk. It's tea time. It's tea time. 34, that's a lot of people watching. That's dope. We can start straight away. Today our topic, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to talk about the vice presidency issue. Baba Declan Deipi. Diabetes EO. Bain Deipi. Yo, Ray, Uncle Ray, how you doing, man? Uncle Ray. We're going to have to do a whole episode on the IPP, man. We're going to have to do a whole episode on that. What up, people? It's tea time. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Today we're talking about the situation that has arisen, ladies and gentlemen. Deep situation that has arisen as our current dispensation opposition is in disarray. Now, the first thing I must do is I must get everybody in the picture. In 2014, a lady by the name of Thokozani Khupe was elected to become the vice president of the biggest opposition party in this country. Arguably the only opposition party that's ever beaten ZANU-PF twice in a row and never managed to take the reins of power. Yo, Mia, what up? Thokozani Khupe won that election to become vice president from the faithful and card-carrying members of MDCT. I am not a card-carrying member of MDC, so all I'm doing right now is giving you pure objective analysis of the situation. Somewhere along the lines, Thokozani Khupe is the elected VP of the party, but in 2016, in his infinite wisdom, going contrary to the MDC constitution, Morgan Tsvangirai, who is the reigning supreme leader of the MDC party, then nominated, didn't nominate, he instilled two more deputy VPs. One being a gentleman named Elias Mzuri and the other one being Nelson Chamisa. So all of a sudden we're at a situation where the MDCT had 3 vice presidents. Now remember, ZANU-PF has 2 vice presidents. According to the Unity Accord and blah, 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 ZANU-PF should have someone from representing Matabeleland and someone representing something else, right? But obviously that's gone to shit now with the new administration where we have 2 military and 3 military at the head. We're now being run by a junta. So MDC now had 3 deputies. We had Thokozani Khupe, Elias Mzuri, and Nelson Chamisa. Now, the reason why this was so problematic is that all of a sudden you have an elected leader, who's Thokozani Khupe, and 2 unelected deputies vying for a presidency when the president is sick. Now, you and I have seen this before, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to share this, bro. Are you able to change your settings? Everyone should be able to share. I don't know what's going on. Everyone should be able to share. I didn't make it private. So by Morgan Tsvangirai adding 2 more VPs on top of Thokozani Khupe, who was the people's elect from the party, the members elect, what happens is that a sick man now had 3 people vying for the top spot. Now beforehand, when Tsvangirai used to leave the country and so forth, right, after the Congress, it was very clear the leadership structures and succession issues were very, very clear. Okay, if Tsvangirai left the country, the vice president, who was Thokozani Khupe, who was being elected by the faithful, would immediately assume the role of president, acting president, and the game would go on. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I have seen this before. You and I have seen this before. You see, when leaders, iconic leaders of movements, do not deal with succession issues, the situation becomes what we have currently in Zimbabwe, where the people around you start to take over in weird ways that are not constitutional. So I'm going to interrogate right now the MDC constitution. Okay? According to the MDC constitution, it's very clear. As soon as the president leaves the country, the elected vice president assumes the role. Because there's now 3 others, there's 3 vice presidents, that situation became a problem. The situation became a problem because now there's no clear line of succession. Now, Thokozani Khupe recently tweeted a truthful tweet where she said that MDC is not a dysfunctional party. In fact, MDC is one of the best parties in the country. Next to ZANU-PF, ZANU-PF being the Mercedes-Benz, MDC should be the BMW. It's got a strong constitution. It's got a strong iconic leader character. It's got a strong support base which has been growing for the last 20 years. So MDC is not a dysfunctional party by any means. It's got Harvest House in the middle of the burg. This is one of the most established parties in the country. It's 20 years old. It's won 2 elections. It's actually governed in a government of national unity in 2008 to 2013. So this is not a Mahumbwe party. This is not APA. This is not APA. So remember, we are the Tea Party. We're the bastions of common sense and sanity. We like sanity. We like constitutionalism because deep down we're Democrats. We like democratic systems. So if we are going to be supporting anybody in the current melee of confusion that's happening, you have to support the Democratic candidate. Subsequently, what's happened is we have a situation where the president, the iconic leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, is so sick, incapacitated in his bed, that he can no longer control the party anymore because he's now in hospital in South Africa, where his family comes out and thanks ED and the government and Vice President Chiwenga for paying the bill. This is the irony that Zimbabwe lives in. We live in this dysfunctional, ironic state of non sequiturs. Zimbabwe is a land of fucking paradox. So Tsvangirai is in hospital being paid for by the ZANU-PF government. He now no longer leads his party. And because of his decision to put 3 vice presidents, 2 unelected, 1 elected, he's left a succession battle that's now impossible to deal with. It's an impossible succession battle. Because in his absence, Thokozani Khupe said, well, of course, in his absence, I am the vice president. I should be, I'm the elected vice president, elected by the people at Congress in 2014, so I should be acting president. Obed Gutu, that grease ball. Obed Gutu is a greasy, horrible. It's like Obed Gutu should come from Nigeria or something. You know, those slick grease balls who shower in cooking oil and fucking Vaseline. Obed Gutu is a grease ball. Obed Gutu then goes and says, President Tsvangirai has made Elias Mzuri the acting president of MDC in his absentia. That grease ball, Mr. Vaseline. Nigga, you look at Obed Gutu, you start to feel slithery and slimy, nigga. He's a grease ball. So Elias Mzuri then is appointed acting president by that greaseball Gutu, because he is the spokesperson for the MDCT. As we sit there and watch this fucking melee going on, ladies and gentlemen, Luke, I forgot his surname, goes and says, in his absence, President Tsvangirai has now bestowed acting presidency to Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa? You know Nelson Chamisa? Nice young looking guy, 40 years old. We saw a picture of him yesterday with Advocate Bay. I don't know if he's courting her to come to his side. I don't know. But to me, instinctively speaking, yeah, Tamborinyoka. Luke Tamborinyoka. Ironic surname. Snake ass nigga. So we have a greaseball and a snake. I'm sorry, guys. Remember, this tea time where we're supposed to entertain ourselves whilst we talk. When Luke and Chamisa went to South Africa to see Morgan Tsvangirai, they were refused entry. They were refused side. They were not allowed to see Tsvangirai. But they still came back with assertion. Now, the reason why Luke Tamborinyoka played with the snakes, announced Chamisa as vice president, as acting president, the reason why I did that is because at this time, Thokozani Khupe and Elias Muzuri have gone together in a plane to Cape Town. So all of a sudden, the MDC had no acting president. So by default, Nelson Chamisa defaulted to become the new acting president in the absentia of the two other vice presidents. I know it's confusing, but please stick with me here, ladies and gentlemen. It's confusing, but I need you to stick with me. I'm going to do a quick recap. Tsvangirai has a Congress. He's voted leader. After he's voted leader as the candidate for 2018 elections in 2014, Thokozani Khupe is then elected by the people of MDC to become the vice president. The MDC fellowship and followership and membership have made Thokozani Khupe the VP. Correct? In 2016, because Tsvangirai does not necessarily like Khupe very much, or it has to be one of those reasons, or doesn't trust her, or doesn't think she's succession value or quality, he then appoints two unelected VPs, Elias Muzuri and Nelson Chamisa. Are we together? Okay, so follow me here. Morgan Tsvangirai leaves Elias Muzuri in charge as acting vice president of MDCT. Thokozani Khupe is up in arms because she is the elected vice president. Tsvangirai has no choice. I mean, she was elected by the party fellowship. But she and Muzuri then go to Cape Town to go schmooze with some donor money. And in their absence, Nelson Chamisa and Luke Tamborinyoka assume acting presidency, as one does when there's no other leadership in the country. Kuda, you are biased somewhere, somehow. I don't know how I'm biased. I'm giving you objective facts, Shami. I'm not making things up. I'm giving you exactly what happened and what is happening. So right now we have a situation, we have all three VPs in Zimbabwe, and all three of them are claiming that they're acting presidents of MDCT. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Does this sound familiar? Do you remember what was happening in ZANU-PF, ladies and gentlemen? See, we've had this for 37 years. We know this cycle. Remember Mai Mujuru, guys? Remember her? Mai Mujuru today is now personified by Thokozani Khupe, a popular elected leader who sits in position. Then you have assumed people who are added there by leaders who lack vision. You see, Tsvangirai thought that he'll be alive forever. So he lacked the vision to see that by putting two other men in those positions, what he was actually doing was giving himself the biggest succession nightmare of a fucking lifetime. Remember what happened in November, ladies and gentlemen? Shit, I remember. The young nigga who had been put in a position by Mugabe came up with the army and then took over and dethroned his own godfather. You see, this is the kind of coup, not coup, that Nelson Chamisa has done. Constitutionally speaking, he assumed the position when there was no acting president in power, right? Both acting presidents had left Zimbabwe, and Tsvangira himself was basically incapacitated and sick, dying of colon cancer. So what Nelson Chamisa did is not wrong. However, now that we look at the situation, ladies and gentlemen, we must say that since Thokozani Khupe is back in Zimbabwe, and let's do this back in Zimbabwe, by default, the leader of the MDCT, and we as the Tea Party have to be righteous because we're Democrats. We don't do things because of emotion. Because emotionally speaking, I want to support Chamisa. I like the dude. I've spoken to the dude. I've hung out with the dude. I've been to his rallies. He's a good guy. He's the guy who I would like to see take over the presidency of the MDC. You see, if there was going to be an extraordinary Congress for the MDC, I would actually then become a member so I could make sure my vote goes to him. That's my emotional response. However, as a Democrat, ladies and gentlemen, I must look at the constitutionalism of the situation. And the person who constitutionally is the vice president of MDC, according to the will of the fucking party electorate, is Thokozani Khupe. Now, she's got big problems. See, when she was unhappy that the party was about to give away a lot of her seats for the alliance, she didn't come for the alliance rally. Basically, Charlton Wende, he's a rabid dog. He's a dog, that one, a rabid dog. Him, Charlton Wende, and his friends, I think Manasheki and some of these brutal cunts, they went to Bulawayo to fuck up Thokozani Khupe. Can you imagine? Grown men from the MDC senior structures left Harare, drove to Bulawayo to go beat up that woman because she didn't agree with the fact that they were about to give away all her seats, her hard-earned seats, to Mube, to MDC Mube. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a mess. The reason why we're talking about it is because deep down, even though we're not members of the MDC, we sympathize with them. They are the main opposition. They are the people who gave us, the hope that the big juggernaut of ZANU-PF could actually be beaten. You see, the way things are looking now, how can we even try and compete against ED? ED is so confident that he's going to win that he's already started doing things as an elected president, even though he's not been elected by anybody. He wasn't elected to party leadership. He was bestowed. He took the presidency. He wasn't elected by us. So he's a president without a mandate. He's an easy guy to beat. ED's an easy guy to beat because nobody's voted that guy in. He's just taking things along his way. He even retired his wife so that she could be first lady 3 months before an election. That's how confident ED, an unelected president, is. So we should have a great opportunity as the opposition to beat these niggas. But guess what? We're too busy fighting over who's acting president over a dying man in fucking South Africa. A man dying and his bills being paid for by ED. You see what kind of a mess this is, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see what kind of a mess this is, ladies and gentlemen? My God. We are the Tea Party. Anyone who's watching this, if you're watching this, you can be a part of any other party you like. But if you're a part of the Tea Party too, we're Democrats. We do things righteously. We do things constitutionally. Okay? And right now, as we are the Tea Party, let's go out there into the internet and let's talk the truth. The truth of the matter is this, ladies and gentlemen. The elected vice president of the MDCT is Thokozani Khupe. Yes, she's a woman. Yes, she's Ndebele. But that does not take away from the fact that she is the rightfully elected leader of the MDCT. I'm going to say this one more time. If you look at me emotionally, if I look at myself emotionally, I'm a supporter of Nelson Chamisa. Why? Because I like Nelson Chamisa. He's my homeboy. He speaks a language I can understand. I've been to his rallies. I've spoken to the dude. You know, he's nice to me. So deep down, I think he's a good guy. If there was to be a leader for the MDC, because I don't know Miss Khupe, I definitely would support Nelson Chamisa. However, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Tea Party and we do not do things on emotions. We do things with constitutionalism. We like democracy, ladies and gentlemen. We like democracy. I won't even mention that Elias Muzuri guy. Elias Muzuri would not win a poll against me. I dare you. Any of you go pull a poll against me and Elias Muzuri right now on Facebook and I'll beat him every time. Even I can beat that nigga. So I won't even mention that guy. But the chokwadi of it all, ladies and gentlemen, is that Thokozani Khupe is the rightful leader of the MDC. That was our first topic today, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, I'd like to take some calls and some feedback. Does anybody want to participate? I know my lovely lady wanted to participate, so I'm going to add her first. You know, being Valentine's Day, she's the reason why. You know, I thought I'd take a shower, come down 9:45, but she had other plans. Look at why I'm smiling so much. So I let my lovely lady, Noma, where you at? How you doing, beautiful?
Hi.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too, Boo Boo.
Talk to me. Who is the rightful vice president, hence acting president of the MDC team, man?
The acting president should be Thokozani Khupe. Is Thokozani Khupe, in essence, right?
Constitutionally speaking, without any doubt, if you go constitutional
without
law,
any doubt,
she is the leader.
She gets that part, right? Because she's the only elected leader. Remakua Chada, it causes problems later. And I don't know, maybe MDC's constitution was created by the lawyers who are now leaders of PDP and MDCN. Therefore, people were not thinking about when you appoint two vice presidents, you need to immediately go back to your constitution and amend it so that you avoid such shitty situations. Which
can you please interrogate that for me a little bit?
Sorry?
Interrogate this for me for a little bit. What is the PDP and the MDCN's position currently?
PDP, I know clearly they endorse Nelson Chamisa. But the only reason why PDP endorses Nelson Chamisa is because PDP is very aware of how people emotionally feel. There's a greater number of people like you and me who are not MDC supporters by card-carrying membership, but if MDC woke up and had things right, would go and vote for it. Simply just because it's been tested and proven as a real opposition. Would vote for that because we want change from ZANU-PF regardless of the fact that they've changed their face, right? So PDP knows that there's people like Noma who think a young president means that the demographic of youth is powerful. It means that we have some sort of voice. So if we get a younger person, we can go back to the conversation, oh, we have young leadership, which means that the youth drive things, the youth have a voice, which everybody else in the world says this demographic is so powerful, but we don't see how we're powerful because we don't have one of our own up there. So the best person to being one of our own is Nelson Chamisa. He's the only guy who knows how to use a live video on Facebook after a little struggle. Admittedly, I mean, he's from Gutu. You Gutu boys take a while to capture things, but he can do that.
I didn't say that we're homeboys. We're actually homeboys. We come from the same Kumusha. So Nelson Chamisa is my guy.
So he can talk to us and we understand him in not so many words. Khupe is not tweeting for herself. She's got a team of people seated down tweeting. Speaking of which, did you make me my tea? Never mind.
I forgot to make you a tea. Sorry, ma'am.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's go back. So, okay, so what does this mean? So PDP is very conscious. That's why they endorse Nelson Chamisa. What MDC hasn't understood is that the moment you guys bring in a young leader to fight an old leader, all those people who have just registered to vote because registering to vote was cool, they now need to decide who to vote for because it's still always, so who are we voting for? Like you want somebody else to come and tell you. Will be a no-brainer because people like the advocate. He's young, he's handsome, and he's a lawyer. So we think he's Leonard, you know? So he makes up for all those things that we expect in young people. He's ticked all the boxes. Is he, in all of these people, How hard is it for Nelson Chamisa to go and recruit independent candidates who have stood up already? He's the easiest ticket to get all those people to endorse him. What happens when the independent thinking people start to endorse Nelson Chamisa? It's a clear win. Then it's going to be a burden of proof for ZANU-PF when they've lost an election after being so cockily confident. That makes the army have to salute Nelson Chamisa. And the moment Nelson Chamisa wins, right, they might shoot our butts, but we're ready to go on the streets. But I'm not going to go on the streets for, I'm not going to go on the streets for Mudzuri. I'm not going to go on the streets for Thokozani Khupe, because I don't think Thokozani and I, as a Ndebele woman, a person from a Tebele land, and as a woman, I don't think she understands me. I don't think she does. And I'm sorry, she's a woman and mandated people to support each other, but I don't think she gets me.
She's the elected leader. What does Nelson Chamisa do? What does the MDC fellowship do at this point when they say that, okay, the person that we have elected...
Special immediate Congress. Abafuti, here is the joke that I'm going to tell MDC. We are going to come and buy your membership cards to come and vote for Nelson Chamisa. We're going to be members the day before Congress and come and vote for Nelson Chamisa. So it's either they're going to go to Congress or they sit down and clearly mark out how to win an election. Like, there's so many books about how to win an election. I'm surprised why they haven't decided to do that. So for me, emotionally, I lean to Chamisa. Who do I believe what?
Who do you blame?
I blame each and every one of those MDC comrades that I know. Everyone who is my age, everyone who has always believed that MDC was such a strong party and had a constitution, and they set aside and nobody spoke about how their party or their organization is run by clear, concise documents. I blame those people. Everyone else who's at the top fighting for a spot, those people are very clear that power is everything. That's why they're fighting for it. I don't blame them. They should do that. That's their job. They should fight for power anyway. I blame people who are supposed to hold them accountable for not doing it. So
I blame Morgan. I blame Morgan.
I blame also Alliance. I blame Alliance members. Why are you guys not talking about the fact that when you left MDC, it had a constitution and how their fight affects you entirely? Without MDC-T, the MDC Alliance does not exist. We think that BT is too weak to win. We know that he's tried over and over again. Khupe is too weak to win by himself. They all know that. They know that they're very weak without MDC-T. Why are they allowing MDC-T to go to disarray when they need that win? MDC winning means that they win, means that they get patronage, they get seats that they don't deserve by the fact that they align themselves with stronger people. So the moment you let your big giant go weak because of a simple flu, then you are all not going to get the piece of the cake. Guess what? ZANU-PF is going to get all of that, and everyone is going to be given these nice things and nice posts, and we keep it moving. And they will be democratically elected because guess what? There's people like Anangosana Moyo who still think they have a chance. There's people like Noma who's got a clear and concise what? Strategy. His things are beautiful, but guess what? He doesn't have experience that MDC has. Unfortunately, he's not a trusted and tested machinery. His biza is on point, but nobody wants to badge an Bizairoro because nobody thinks that he's got the capability to win. Right?
Okay, my question to you now, my wife, is this. Is the deal. Do we then trust our country in the hands of an MDCT that has failed to even deal with simple succession issues at this stage after the Mugabe fuckery, the ED-ness and all this nonsense is happening? Do we trust them still with our vote? Or do we then as Zimbabwe say, you know what, guys, Shikuruku Fema, let's go and help build the Noah Manyika and let's help him let's get him to 2023 at least, because he's gonna burn out with any of us without our help. I mean, yesterday I saw his press conference. I think it was a progressive Noah's decision for VP was, I think, very progressive personally. I think, is it not time for us to say, you know what, guys, we really wanted these guys to be our guys. They failed. Is it not time for us to say, right, let's start building a new generation? The Maheres, the Manyikas, let's agree with 2018. Let's give ED and his juntas whatever they want. Because at this stage, if we put these guys in power, the MDC alliance, What are we getting ourselves into, guys? That's my next question. And I don't know if you're the right person to answer this, because I know your answer. I'm cutting you now,
We're
mommy. Come join me if
getting
you want.
ourselves into
Let me get
more
somebody
shit
else
than
on,
we
right?
can believe.
You know, my girl talks too much, and she's smarter than me. So let me get somebody else on. Right. Who else wants to be added, ladies and gentlemen? I got a bunch of you that I can add. We're gonna talk real quick about the situation with the MDCT. A lot of us are not members. Some of you may be members. Can the members start calling in? If there's any member want to ask to be added, please just say add, and I'll add you. We're talking about the opposition. Who is our opposition? Do we want them in power after all this mad? You know, Muzinge, I cannot add you because you don't have the icon of to be added on your thingy, on your photo. You might be using a computer or something, I don't know. So if you want me to add you, please be able to be added. People like Dirk Frey, for some reason, I can't add you. Ben Bright, I can't add you. Who wants to be added? Let me just make a request. Tinashe. Let me add Tinashe. You're right, Dirk. She should be the host. She must have her own channel. She's too smart for me. I'm trying to add Tinashe at the moment. Tinashe, I'm trying to add you. He's probably saying, requesting you to add. If you can accept, then we can go. I'll give it another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Tinashe did not accept my addition, so I'm adding Tinay. Tinay, I'm adding you. Please accept my request. I know there's a bit of a delay when you're being added and you don't see it. Sidney Khupe said MDC is fucked up tribal party. I would rather be voting for Manika. You know what, guys? I'm actually going to meet Noah Manika later on today. I'm going to have a word with him. I'll try and do a Tea Party Extreme. We're trying to connect right now with Tinay. Tinay, I hope you got a good network, my brother. Connecting, Zaramba. I'll try and add you. Let me add my brother. He makes a lot of videos I really enjoy. Vusimuzi. Let me try and add you, my brother. Hey, for some reason, you're not allowing me to add you again. I don't know. Guys, what's happening with Facebook Live? Facebook Live used to be so good. Now it's just so buggy. Now it's just so buggy. Oh, you keep requesting to be added. I'll add you guys as time goes on. Anyone wants to be added to talk about the MD situation, please keep trying to say I'll add you. The next thing I was gonna try and talk to you guys today. Okay, Shepard is telling me to add them, so let me add Shepard. Shepard. Something has gone wrong here, guys. Try and add Shepard. My God, it seems like no one can be added. Where are you? I'm trying to find guys on the list of people who can be added. Okay. Sorry guys, this is crazy. I don't know what's going on. Bring to camera. I'm trying to add you today. Let me try and add you. Bring back Shorty. I think she's onto something. Well, Shorty is here somewhere. She'll come down and join us so that we can add other people. Today I'm trying to add you. It's not agreeing. Why is Nomaliso asking to be added again? Why is Nomaliso asking to be added again? Let's try and add Nomaliso again. Why is Nomaliso wanting to be added again? Bring Noma. Okay, let's bring back Chef Pay. Why do you want to come back?
Because okay, I hadn't finished. While we wait. While we wait.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
So I think my last point of position is, whilst MDC is in a mess, there's still a generational mandate that we need to have as young people, right? And as young people, if MDC cannot offer us that solution, we need to find it elsewhere. Please not, I am not campaigning for Noah by any means, but if you cannot campaign for someone, help them make their ideas better. I feel like Noah's got the best assertions of what to do. I'm not too sure if his plans are foolproof, right? If his plans are good for execution, right? Because even when we draw closer to elections, there's gonna be a need for a big tent opposition if we genuinely want ZANU-PF out. And the first thing that they need to discuss is an equally representative parliament. This means that when we go to elections, there are going to be comrades who are going to be standing in for MP, right? They are going to win because they are part of the big tent. But they are not standing in there for themselves. They are standing in there for their party. Ideas that Noma will need to come into play because he's got very beautiful ideas, which I don't think Nelson Chamisa has processed. Nelson Chamisa and
I've got a question for you.
Mugabe must go. And if they do get Mugabe must go, they will be easily distracted the same way they got appointment of presidents and they forgot that their constitution needs fixing.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Right now, if the election was called for tomorrow, who is your presidential candidate?
I don't like losing. I'll just vote for ZANU-PF or spoil my ballot. It's a given. If we don't get it together, ZANU-PF is winning. I don't like losing.
So Edie's got your vote.
Or I'll put it for Noah, right? Knowing very well that it might be just part of the 5% vote. I'll go to bed on the day when they're counting the results and wake up the following day and see how far he's gone. But I'm not lying to myself and saying, nah, this nigga gonna win straight up. He doesn't have that muscle. That muscle is not there yet. He needs that time to build up that muscle. He is not gonna win 2018, but he must be consistent. He might get it 2023. He might get it 2023. He's got MPs that are going to run under his flagship. His MPs will win. Some will win, some will lose. The very fact that he's got some of his MPs going into government, that's good enough. That's good enough. They should count that as a win. He may not be the one, but his people might make it.
I'm cutting you now. I'm cutting you now. If you want to join me, come downstairs. Bye-bye, mommy. Okay, so now let me add some people now, okay? Let me add some people now. Because obviously we proved that adding is working. We're in Zimbabwe and we're managing to talk on our data. Let me add some of you guys overseas joining the conversation before we talk about the English exam. Yo, Mia, what's happening? What's popping? What's popping? Oh, we can't hear a thing, my nigga.
Now I
can hear you say something?
Yeah.
Now we can hear you. Now you. What's up?
So I was just actually trying to help you because I'm going to struggle like Edavano. So I thought I would just come and help to see if it's working, but it is. So
what is your opinion though? What's your opinion on this though?
Oh God. So I follow a lot because I don't quite understand much of it, but from the top of my head, I think that I was wondering what the whole Thokozani Khupe thing was about. And then Nelson Chamisa and said his sexist remarks. And then I was just like, bingo, that is it. That is why, you know, she has been like sidelined, so to speak. That's what I think anyway. So I'm coming from the whole, but even feminist side, but that's just my understanding. Like, yeah, she's actually a force to be reckoned with, but she's not going to get the chance to because she's a woman in the MDC. Sorry to say, that's what I think.
Yeah, she's not wrong. I think she may be not. She's not right now. She's not a team player. She's a strong mind, but the thing is, she's actually elected by the party membership. So in a sense, I can't fault her for trying to defend her position as an actual leader. But I thank you for joining us, Nia. I'll join you one of these nights when you're talking about all these other nice things. But today we're talking politics.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm here to learn. You're doing a good.
Okay, so somebody else want me to add them? Please say add, and I'll add you right away. I need a couple more guys to talk about what's this. Somebody said Noma and Kosana Moema Figizola dividing the opposition. Listen, Noma is not doing anything. He's doing Noma is just campaigning in a democratic process and hoping to win people over. Kosana Moyo is flying in and out of Joburg every now and then, hoping that will guilt us into voting for him. I don't know. But all I'm seeing right now is you can't see MDC supporters cannot come here and say other people are dividing the opposition when the opposition is divided. Obed Gutu, that greasy slime ball, is running for Harare East. Tendai Biti is running for Harare East. Those are two people from the alliance running for the same seat, ladies and gentlemen. That's a divided opposition. That's crazy. Don't tell me about Noma trying to divide the opposition. The opposition is already divided. Okay, Todd, I'll add you in 5 minutes. Richard says ED has my vote. I would love to speak to some ED has my vote, guys. Richard cannot be added. Eesh, this is not working today. We're about to talk about the English paper. Do you know? Did any of you go and see Pastor E's video today? Pastor E put out a video talking about the English paper and the Ministry of Education. So I was going to weigh in and give you my opinion on that, because I feel that we're conflating issues, ladies and gentlemen. As we do as a generation, we're good at conflating issues. So I thought I'll weigh in and I'll give you guys my opinion. I'm trying my best to add you, Taffy, but for some reason it's just like a picture and not giving. I apologize, guys. For some reason, some of you guys abroad are not allowing me to add you for some reason. I don't know what's going on. So let me try and add other people who are saying add here at the bottom. Gideon, I'm trying to add you now. Taffy, sorry, I tried to add you. Gideon is saying adding. Hopefully you can see. Brother Promise Mukwaranzi, how you doing? Promise might end up becoming the new Bondo from the looks of things. Gideon, what up, man?
I'm doing good, and you?
Tell me, how are you feeling about all of this?
I think that the biggest problem that we're facing right now is the MDC. When they put in Thokozani Khupe, they put in a figurehead. They didn't put her in thinking that this thing was going to come up. They thought that Tsvangirai was going to live forever, and him living forever was going to put them in a position where they would never have to have Thokozani Khupe as the president. Now this is an emergency for them, because I feel like the biggest problem is there's a sexist way of thinking that is in the MDC currently. That is the primary reason they do not want Khupe to be in power. I feel like, obviously, yes, I agree with you with the fact that, naturally I do want Nelson Chamisa as a young person, because I would love to see a 40-year-old president. It would be amazing, and I think it would be good for the country. But currently, I don't think they have the capacity to win, just because we don't trust them. And at the moment, instead of looking at their constitution and looking at what's happening, they should just go back and say, you know what, our constitution says this. We are the ones that made the decision, so let's abide by that decision. But they're messing up. Hey, Noma.
Hey, Noma.
Hi, Gideon.
Yeah, so I think they're messing up big time, and day by day they're constantly losing, a ton of people, just because at the end of the day, it's the classic case of the mime Jew. She was put in there as a figurehead. They did not want her to ever ascend to the presidency. And I feel like that's the same thing with Thokozani Khupe. Vakamuisa just like, we need a woman as a vice president, but she's never going to be president. But now
okay, so are you happy to give that party, a party that's made those kind of mistakes of figurehead elections and all these kind of mistakes of three vice, are you happy now to let them run your country for your children's sake?
Oh, hell no. Oh, no, not in a million years. Because I feel like they need to fix their internal politics first before we give them, the reins to run the country. At the end of the day, like, I'm all right now. I just feel like, it sucks that Noah Manyika doesn't have the kind of following that he should. I used to be super critical of him until somebody was like, dude, just go and research on this person, read about him. And, I listened to a ton of his things. I'm like, dude, you make a ton of sense. He makes a lot of sense to me. And right now, he is the only viable option, but the fact on the ground is the chances of him winning.
Well, the thing is, he's the only one. The thing is, the reason why the other day I wrote on my wall that currently the only person who's earned my vote is Noah Manyika, and I'm not openly campaigning for him. Remember, guys, I was just saying, as I looked righteously at myself as a Tea Party member, and we say these are the strict guidelines on who we endorse eventually.
Yeah.
As of that day, he was the only one who had a manifesto.
Yeah.
He's the only one who's I've sat with him. He's given me a working plan of what he thinks he can do for Zimbabwe. Like I know he's got a lot of utopian ideas, but right now he's the only one. Now, because I'm a big supporter of Advocate Fadzai Mahere, and when I sit with Noah, I understand his spirit, because it's the same spirit that we have at the Be the Change campaign, where it's hope and optimism is what drives the team. You know, it's like we have a manifesto, we have a plan, we've got dreams, and we just need the support to get it there. But and everybody says the same things. You guys are gonna lose. You can't beat MDC in Mount Pleasant. All these kind of things. So I understand the reason why I said Noma the other day was because he's the only one who felt the same DNA that I have, which is he wants to see a better Zimbabwe for my kids. He wants to see fast trains. He wants to see technology. He wants to see. So if Chamisa comes and does the same thing, all of a sudden now I have two people I can choose from. You know, if Kosana Moyo gave me a manifesto and not stupid billboards that Albert and those other idiots are putting up, I would also have another option. But you can't say I'm Kosana Moyo and I work at the World Bank, so I know how to run a country. I say fuck you.
Doesn't make sense.
Right? You must give me other things. Right? And the only person right now, as I sit, who's given me a reason to vote is number one, the Yellow Manifesto from African Man, and right now is the BZA guys who've given me a manifesto that I actually believe in. Now, I don't like the fact that they stole our colors, but you know, they're running for different things. So
I mean, the biggest problem is the sense of entitlement. MDC does not understand how, personally, it pisses me off, that sense of entitlement, that just because they've been in politics for a long time, they feel like suddenly we should vote for them. The reason why the 2-3 times that I voted in my life, you know, I grew up in Bari, and it's the area that I grew up in is ZANU-PF, and I voted for MDC just because I constantly was like, you know what? I hate what ZANU-PF, constantly voted for MDC was because I was like, I hate what ZANU-PF has done to me. You know, I was part and parcel of that whole 2008 era where it was just terror. And at the end of the day, I voted for them just because I thought, you know what, they are the only option. But right now, they're chaos. You know, it's a total nightmare. And the fact that it scares me to have a conversation with people from the MDC, because at the end of the day, they say, well, there's no way you can vote for ZANU-PF, so vote for us. We're not voting for them because of their manifesto or anything good that they're going to provide, but just on the basis that they are the ultimate.
Of against.
Yeah, you know.
My brother Gideon, thank you very much. You're a wise man. It's been good talking to you, and thank you for participating. We really appreciate your point of view.
Bye, Gideon.
So let me address a couple of issues here. Blessing Mwale says, hypothetically speaking, if Noah Manyika wins, how will he implement his policies without a majority of MPs?
Majority of MPs is going to be independent candidates. Watch out.
You know what?
Watch out.
I accept your statement, Blessing. But if you're not going to vote for the right people because you don't believe they have because they're good people, they've got good ideas, but I'm not going to vote for them because I'm a majority, so let me vote for fuckwits, then we're in trouble as a nation.
And also remember the executive powers that the president has. When we can push through some things. So we don't necessarily need parliament, which is part of the things that we should do, because parliament can sit and argue all day, but the executive presidency has got powers to push certain things through. And why MDC during the time of the making of the constitution agreed to it was because they thought they were going to win immediately, and it was necessary for Morgan Tsvangirai to have that kind of power. But the truth of the matter is that he's not going to get that.
And also another thing that I want you guys to understand is that I don't believe all the MPs who are currently sitting in parliament are all bad people. I mean, even on the ZANU-PF side, there are guys who are actually, now that I've sat down and spoken to them, you know, the Terence Khupe is the guys who I used to call inept. I now realize that even within parliament, there's actually a lot of good people who want to do good things. And I believe that if we take away the need for this voting along party lines and let good ideas run, both MDC, PDP, ZANU-PF can come up and vote in the right way. And that's what parliament is voting for the right bills, voting for the right path for the country.
And not party lines.
Not party lines. And the problem with that is party lines. Mwanawachi Era, who is obviously, admittedly, one of the strongest MDC supporters I've ever met in my life. MDC is an established party. Our only competition is ZANU.
Well, right now, Monachera, your competition is MDC.
Yourself.
So go deal with that before you come on our parties and give us the manioka you're talking there.
Oh, yikes.
I love you, Monachera. Your mama is my sister. You know that. I say I'm my sister. This was what but
I think Mandla Dube should stop thinking that this is about tribal lines. Some of these conversations, we need to stop thinking that, is it a Ndebele issue? There's so many tribes for us to exist. Imagine if Xhosa people who live in this country actually come out and say, you know what, you guys have been sidelining us for a very long time. They've got the facilities, they've got the alliances for them to start making a loud noise. But these things are not about tribal lines at times. Let's really talk about what kind of future do we want?
Okay, right. I'm trying to add Todd. I'm trying to add you. I don't know if you can see my addition. Could I ask future wife why she wants to have his generation vote?
Zanu, because
of fear of failure.
You see something, I'll tell you this one thing for free. Zanu PF is willing to listen to ideas right now. They're sanitizing themselves. They're very conscious of the fact that they need to sanitize the Mugabe out of their system.
Todd, my brother, talk to us. What's going on? How are you feeling about this conversation?
Manyane Biza. Biza name.
That song is rather very captive. It's captivating.
Yeah. Aywa, no. What it is, I think we've been too long in this mindset. You have to vote for a particular party and you have to follow a particular leader, not really understanding what's going on. We did a poll the other day around Victoria Falls, Binga area, towards Kariba. Do you know that people know Morgan Tsvangirai, but they don't know the MDC and they don't know Van Nelson Chamisa. They don't know his vices. They only know an individual, and they know him because he's the only person they know of who contested against Mugabe. When you ask about my policies or what he's going to do for them, they don't know. They just know with Ariko Morgan, you understand? Now we need to move beyond that because we need to start looking at service delivery. We need to start looking at activating the economy. We need to look at job creation. We need to look at health facilities, infrastructure, looking at things like that. And our manifesto, as you rightfully say, talks about those things. We talk about how we're going to get Zimbabwe working again. When Anonzan ED talked about cutting down the cabinet, you didn't hear BZA saying, well, he stole our idea. But truth of the matter is we've had that on the table since October 2010, not 2010, 2016. You understand? We've always talked about that. But because it's being implemented or someone has proposed it, we are happy there's going to be more money on the table of Zimbabweans. And we just carry on campaigning and looking at other areas that we can improve. We don't go and contest in areas where we believe, there's already something good happening there. We're looking at what we can do to make change and improve Zimbabwe as a whole. When you talked about Thokozani Khupe, I'm more shocked and surprised by the women in MDC who don't support another woman. You understand? Who just say
no.
Go on.
I think let's. I'm sorry. I really need for people to understand that feminism does not say that we support a woman because they're a woman. We support a woman that has better ideas.
Yes.
We need to stop expecting women to support women for the sake of supporting women. We will not support people who are not thought conscious of what they're doing. We will not support you just because you're a woman. Thokozani Khupe has been refusing for any kind of progress to happen because it sabotages her personal life. But she doesn't think about how it goes forth for every other woman. She hasn't thought about that. Why does she deserve that support just because she's a woman? I don't think so.
No.
Let's be very clear about that.
You're missing my point.
I'm just saying, stop expecting women to support each other because they are women. You men don't support each other because you're men. You fight each other because you're men. That's it. Then the strongest gets to win.
Can I finish?
Todd, you can imagine what the bedroom feels like, huh?
I'm sorry. Yes, finish, Todd. Sorry. Finish.
You need Kuda.
Okay,
can I finish my point now? I need it. Right?
Yes, sorry, Todd.
The biggest critics of Thokozani Khupe are the ladies in the MDC. Anditika. Instead of going behind closed doors and talking to her and saying, Shamari, you know what? This is what we need to be doing to move our party forward. There's that motherly nature that women are supposed to have, Anditika. I don't see it. I'm not saying women should support her for the sake she's a woman, but it's like when we talk about ideas, I'll go to Kuda in private and say, Kuda, look, this is what we need to be doing. And sometimes I call him and ask him what should we be doing? He can testify to that. And this is a man-to-man discussion. What can we do? But the women that I see, the evidence that I see is not that. It is actually women. Some of them come to me and they tell me, We don't want her because you know what? No woman has ever been in leadership. No Ntebele woman has ever been in leadership. You understand? So they don't want to even, they don't want him to even give a chance for history to change. So it's putting on your chances as well, because you're going to be singing the same song. The only people who can start pushing for change are the women. Unfortunately, this has to be a feminist issue. You know, it's only women who can turn around and say we want to do this. It's like when we got the female vote.
We women will support progressive women.
So me personally, the reason why the only reason why I'm supporting Thokozani Khupe, my brother, is that is because constitutionally she's the one. Exactly. Trust me, my guy, she doesn't behave like this normally. Told my brother, we need to call. You know, I actually have a meeting at 11 o'clock with Noma, so which is I'm now late. So I'm gonna cut you off, and I'm gonna
visa. No, thanks very much, Kuda.
You never know. You never know. You never know. Yes, we absolutely. So thank you, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Like I said, sorry, I didn't know it was now 11 o'clock. I'm now late for a meeting, which is terrible of me. But I'm heading for a meeting. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the English paper and why I believe that kids should rewrite. Now I know it's an unpopular view, but the reason why I think they should rewrite: imagine yourself as an employer and a kid comes through with all A's, including an A in English, and that English is from 2017. Would you classify that child as a smart kid, considering that the paper was leaked and everyone seems to have got an A in it? Would you trust that paper? So let's talk about that tomorrow. Salute you. Thank you for joining me. We are the Tea Party. Expect us.